little fox.
The Wind in the Willows. Episode 82. The Plan. Everyone waited to hear Badger's secret.
There is a tunnel,
said Badger.
It leads from the riverbank to Toad Hall.
That's not true,
said Toad.
I know Toad Hall. There's no tunnel.
Badger looked very serious.
Toad,
said Badger.
I knew your father well. Your father found the tunnel long ago. He told me not to tell you. He knew you could not keep a secret.
That's true,
said Toad, turning red. Then Badger told them some news.
Yesterday, Otter went to Toad Hall. He pretended to be a house cleaner,
said Badger.
I'll bet the ferrets laughed at him,
said Rat.
They did,
said Badger.
but they also told him about a party.
What?
said Mole.
It's true.
said Badger.
Tomorrow is the Chief Weasel's birthday.
The weasels will be in the dining hall.
cried Toad.
They will all be eating and drinking.
And they won't have guns or clubs.
said Badger.
But the ferrets will be on guard.
said Rat.
The ferrets will never see us.
said Badger.
The tunnel leads right into the broom closet.
We'll creep out,
said Mole.
With our swords and guns.
said Rat.
and smash them.
cried Toad. The Wind in the Willows. Episode 83. Fooling the Ferrets. The next morning, Mole ran into the kitchen. Badger and Rat were making breakfast. Toad was swinging his sword around.
Where have you been?
Asked Toad.
I was talking with the ferrets.
Grinned Mole.
I hope you were careful,
Said Rat, worried.
The ferrets had their guns, of course,
Said Mole.
but I was careful. I found Toad's old washwoman dress, so I put it on.
Said Mole.
You did.
Asked Badger.
I put on the bonnet and shawl, too.
Laughed Mole.
Then I went to Toad Hall.
You were very brave, Mole.
Said Badger. Mole told them the story.
The ferrets act very important. Who are you? They shouted. Good morning, I said, very polite. Do you need any washing done today? Go away, washwoman, they said. We don't wash when we're on duty. Do you ever wash at all? I said to them.
Rat and Badger laughed. Mole smiled at his friends.
Wasn't that a great joke?
Cried Mole.
Well, the joke was okay.
Said Toad. In fact, Toad was jealous.
It's not hard to do a trick like that.
He thought.
I could do it easily. I slept late this morning, that's all.
The Wind in the Willows. Episode 84. Mole's Story. Badger and Rat loved Mole's story.
What a clever trick!
Said Rat.
Go on,
Said Badger.
tell us more.
Mole continued.
A ferret told me to leave.
Mole said.
Now go away, good woman, the ferret said.
They called you good woman.
Laughed Badger.
How funny!
Cried Rat, holding his stomach. Toad looked away.
I wore the dress too.
He mumbled.
Someone called me good woman, but no one laughed at my story.
Mole continued.
Don't bother us, a ferret yelled. Go away! Soon you will have to go, sir, I said.
Oh, Mole, you said that.
Asked Rat.
They will figure out our plan. Let Mole finish.
Said Badger. Mole went on.
The ferrets all looked at each other. Don't listen to her, one ferret said. She's just an old woman, said another. And I said, maybe you should listen. My daughter does wash for Mr. Badger, and she heard him making a plan. Tonight, there will be a great attack.
Mole's friends were shocked. They all looked at each other.
What has Mole done?
Rat thought. The Wind in the Willows. Episode 85. Jealous Toad. Mole's friends were upset. But Mole was too excited to notice. He kept telling his story.
I told the ferrets more. 100 badgers will attack, I said. They will hide in the barn with guns. Rats will attack from the river, I said. There will be 6 boats full of rats. And the rats will carry swords.
Swords?
Asked Rat.
Oh, what about the toads?
Asked Toad.
The toads will attack with clubs.
Said Mole.
A gang will charge through the garden.
What a story!
Shouted Rat.
Then I ran away.
Said Mole.
I hid for a little while. Then I quietly came back.
Badger leaned forward to listen.
The ferrets were all afraid.
Said Mole.
They ran here and there shouting.
Oh, Mole!
Cried Toad.
You warned them! You spoiled everything!
Mole,
Said Badger.
you are very clever. You played a very smart trick.
Badger patted Mole on the back. Toad could not believe it.
Mole wasn't clever!
He thought.
Mole warned the Wild Wooders!
The Wind in the Willows. Episode 86. Badger Explains. Mole went into another room with Rat. Toad and Badger sat at the table.
Mole played a smart trick.
Said Badger.
Why is Mole so smart?
Said Toad.
He put on a dress and told some lies. What's clever about that?
Mole scared the ferrets.
Said Badger.
He said 100 badgers will attack.
Yes,
Said Toad.
but it's not true.
He said rats will come in boats.
Said Badger.
Yes,
Said Toad.
That's not true either!
And a gang of toads will strike.
said Badger.
Yes, but...
said Toad, scratching his head. Suddenly, Toad understood.
The badgers will attack from the barn!
He said,
The rats will attack from the river.
said Badger,
The toads will attack from the garden!
said Toad,
Exactly.
said Badger.
The ferrets.
Will guard the wrong places!
Cried Toad. Just then, Mole and Rat came back. They held lots of weapons in their arms.
Mole,
Said Toad,
you are as clever as I am.
Thank you, Toad.
Mole said, surprised. Mole put down his weapons.
Now,
Said Mole.
tell me all your adventures.
Toad smiled happily.
When I saw that car, I wanted it.
Toad began. Then he told his whole story. And Mole was very happy to listen. The Wind in the Willows. Episode 87. The Secret Tunnel. Rat piled the weapons on the floor. Toad jumped around with his sword.
Take that, you weasel!
He cried. Rat gave swords to Badger and Mole. Rat handed out some more things. Badger laughed.
Do we really need rope? Do we need handcuffs and a lunch box?
Rat looked at him in surprise.
I want to be prepared.
He said,
Oh, all right, Ratty.
laughed Badger. Badger held a lantern in one hand. His club was in the other.
Now follow me.
Cried Badger. He led them to a hole in the riverbank. Badger disappeared into the tunnel. Mole and Rat dove in too. But Toad slipped and fell into the river. Splash!
Help me!
Screamed Toad. The friends came back.
What are you doing, Toad?
Said Badger. He pulled Toad into the tunnel. The tunnel was dark and damp.
Don't make noise, Toad.
Said Rat quietly.
We'll leave you behind if you do.
Rat hurried to join Badger and Mole.
It's cold in here.
Said Toad, trembling.
Come on, Toad.
Rat called from ahead. Toad stepped carefully and looked around. Soon he was all alone in the dark.